welcome back to my channel. I am Rosalind Yukich and I am so glad that you're joining me today. If you are here for the very first time, I do a lot of different kinds of content, from Bible journaling to cleaning, organizing, and inspiration, keto, homeschooling and parenting, everything in between. There's just something here for everyone. And today I just want to share with you a brief homeschool update. We are in our third year of homeschooling. I am a second generation homeschool mom. I started our third year so confident we had found our groove. I was like, yes, we have found our groove. I had all my materials ordered, laid out, printed out, everything by the end of last school year because I was taking the summer off, take a break from everything school related. That was a big mistake. I'm never doing that again. And I think it helped to ease my mind a little bit, knowing that, everything was already laid out and I knew where I was going and I knew what I was doing. And last year school was a little bit stressful. And so I think I kind of needed that break a little bit on one hand. On the other hand, the launch to our third year of homeschooling was a little bit rocky. Partly because we were kind of unsure about when my husband's vacation was going to be. So we were a little bit shaky on when our first day of school was going to be. And here is where a huge change is happening for my family in homeschooling in general. So we really didn't have a strong first day of school set in stone. And so, we did start school, very solidly. It was like we got our date nailed down. Even though I knew where I was going, I had a solid plan for what our school year was going to look like. I hadn't planned, anything like lessons or anything too far in advance, but I had a general overall view. It wasn't really a couple weeks into the school year that I was already starting to make changes. And I do want to just encourage you with that, because if you are a newer homeschool mom or a new homeschool mom and you're just like, oh, I'm not sure that I made the right decisions on, curriculum and on our school year and what, the things that we're doing and the way that I've structured things, our schedule, our routine, whatever, don't be afraid to change things up. Sometimes, and I will say, even 3 years into homeschooling, I'm still making changes. I'm making changes a lot. And don't be afraid to just adjust things. Change is a part of life in general. And what worked for you last year may not work for you this year. What worked for you last month may not work for you this month. And so don't be afraid to make changes. It's not making your homeschooling unstable. And it doesn't even mean that you made a wrong decision. It just means that things just need tweaking. And so I have been tweaking a lot. So I'm going to go over with you kind of some of the changes that we've made. First of all, we started off with a schedule because I am a schedule person. I kind of need to have time slots for things. That's sort of how I function. But to be really honest, that doesn't always play out very well in the real world. It looks great on paper, but in the real world, it really doesn't pan out because we have humans that are trying to function. And so your kids may wake up on time one morning, and the next morning you may be in there trying to drag them out of bed, and you're dragging them to the bathroom to get their teeth brushed, and you're dragging them to the table, and things just are not really going along at a good clip. And so I've learned that I have to put my own need for time slots aside and really function more in a routine. One of the reasons why I was doing the schedule is because I had too much packed into one day. And this is where our first change came in. I was doing most subjects every day. So we would do Bible and math and English, and then we would rotate history and science. So we would do science one day, history one day. And then of course we have our reading, and then of course we have our music lessons. And it was so much. My kids were stressed out. I was stressed out. I was, come on, let's go. We don't want to be, we don't want to run late. We don't want to be doing school until 6 o'clock at night. And I tried giving them a 1 hour break in the middle of the day and then coming back, and I found that that didn't really work so well, because after the break, trying to get them back in to school and out of building something with Legos or playing outside was a little bit difficult. So I found that for my kids, it's better to do shorter breaks and be done earlier, so then, they can, go and be creative, than to do a longer break in the middle of the day. But I also realized that there was no benefit out of doing English every single day and doing science, 2 times a week, and history 2 times a week, and trying to fit all of those things in every day, because we had a shorter amount of time to do these things. There was not a lot of time to be creative with it. There wasn't a lot of time to throw in some extra things like, watching a documentary on animals in winter, or watching a documentary on, life in the Middle Ages, in 500 BC or something. There was not a lot of time for art surrounding these things. There wasn't a lot of time for spontaneity, for a cooking project. There just wasn't time for that, because it was get the lesson done, because in 2 days we have another lesson. And there was this pressure of, getting things done by the end of the school year. And even though I know that as a homeschooling family, you don't have to do that, you still feel this constant pressure, to keep up. And so I thought, I've got to find a way to ease things up a little bit, so that I'm easing up with my kids and I'm easing up with myself. And so the first change that we made was we went to block scheduling. And so what we do is we do Bible and math and reading and music every single day. But then we do English 2 days a week, and we do science 1 day, and we do history 1 day. And I have found that this works really, really well. In doing English two times a week, we still keep that continuity with, learning language arts and all of that. But, with the science and with the history, we are still doing handwriting every single day. We're still using what we've learned with language arts every single day, because we are doing, dictation, or we're doing, or we're doing copy work, or we're doing narration, so there's that constant use of what we're learning in English, but we're not doing it as this is English class. And so I realized that in doing English every single day, plus doing the history, or plus doing the science, we were doubling up a lot. And so my kids were just, they're like, man, my hand hurts because I'm writing so much, because we were doing English and then we were doing all of this other. And so this sort of gives us a break from that a little bit. It also eases up our day, so that, we're doing okay, several science lessons at one time, but we can sort of consolidate the science lessons or the history lessons if they sort of piggyback on one another. But then also we can break things up a little bit with doing an art project, or doing a documentary, or doing something spontaneous like cooking something. And it has made school a lot funner. The second change that I did came about when my son was, he complained that he didn't like school. And it sort of made me sad. Okay, I know he's almost 12, he's a tween. He's, starting to get into those angsty years a little bit. So I did take what he said with a grain of salt. Plus, I know I grew up not really liking school either. But I do make a huge effort at trying to make school fun and exciting. And it was just kind of like a bummer, a little bit of a gut punch. And so I asked him, what is it that you don't like about school? And he said he liked science well enough. He loved history. He was enjoying the book he was reading. He loved his music lessons, because we've allowed our children to more or less pick their instrument, or instruments. Both of them are studying 2 instruments, and that's by their own choice. So really, and he loves math because he's a math whiz. So math comes super easy for him. So really, he liked everything except for English. Now, I picked Rod and Staff because it is an easier program. It eases them into language arts, and And it's just, and it's super Bible based, and I really, really liked that. But he didn't like it. He hated it, as a matter of fact. And so I realized, well, here's a place where we can compromise. So I told him, you know, we have another choice to pick from. We don't have a lot of choices where we live, because we don't live in the States. And so shipping his stuff here could easily bankrupt us. But there are some online choices. And so I let him know there's Easy Peasy. We're already signed up with Easy Peasy. We've used it to supplement before, so we're familiar with it. And he was willing to give that a try, just switching completely from Rod and Staff over to Easy Peasy. And so we did that, and it was a game changer. And it's easier on him, and he loves it, which is, you know, a massive plus. It has eased up our schedule a lot, because there isn't a lot of busy work with Easy Peasy, although the results are there. Being in the Facebook group and reading reports from parents who have graduated their kids completely from Easy Peasy without any supplementation, and they've graduated them successfully. They've entered into college without any problems. It made me super confident that this was a good choice for our family. So I haven't gotten rid of our Rod and Staff, because I really prefer Rod and Staff. It's just my personal preference. And so I'm hanging on to it, because we may use it from time to time in the future. But for now, that is what we're doing, and I really, really love it. So the last change that we made, and this has been just a recent change, is, as I said, we kind of got a little bit of a rocky start into the homeschooling year, because we had trouble nailing down a date that would be the start of the school year. But as we began our school year, I was really thinking about the fact that with the weather the way that it is here, especially in the summer, it is it's pretty hot, very humid. It is a little bit dangerous to be outside for extended periods of time during the hottest part of the summer, because of the humidity. Children especially can easily dehydrate. Generally speaking, almost no one is outside from about 10 o'clock in the morning until about 5, 6 o'clock at night. So my kids aren't playing outside with their friends, and everyone is sort of locked up indoors trying to stay cool as much as they can. And over the summer, it began to come to me, we're inside, we're not doing anything. My kids, they don't know what to do with themselves, other than, of course, they want to play video games all day, which we don't allow. But it was a constant battle of, I want to watch something on TV, I want to watch something on my phone, I want to play video games. And it was just going from one screen to the next screen. And, my battle against trying to control that, but also realizing my kids, they've played with Legos, they've read books, they've done art, they've done all of this, and they're bored with all of that, and they just don't know what to do with themselves. And I talked with my husband, and I said, I don't understand why we shouldn't be doing school. I mean, it would definitely occupy them. It would give them something to do, in a structured way. And then it would free us up to be able to take longer breaks throughout the school year, particularly in the spring, when there aren't hordes of mosquitoes outside, when it isn't hot and humid, when, they can be outside for extended periods of time, playing, riding their bikes, throwing a ball, being active. Why not? And so he's like, well, if you know, a good way to go about that, let's do it. And so, at the start of the school year, I wasn't really sure that I was really ready to tackle that big of a change yet. But then as we eased into the school year, and of course now we're into November, now we're about a good 2 solid months into the school year, I'm realizing that it's not as hard as trying to turn the Titanic. It really is something that you can just sort of slide into. And with the recent visit of my parents, we took a 1.5 week break from school. And I realized that really it's just as easy as extending the school year out. And so We're already extending our school year out a little bit because of the week and a half break that we took when my parents were here. We're going to be taking a bit of a longer break in the spring. And so we'll just keep going until we fill up the 180 days that we are required to through our umbrella school that the kids are enrolled with. And we'll just get through. I'm just going to make sure that we are definitely schooling in the month of July, which is the hottest part of the summer, and early August, so that my kids are occupied during that part of the summertime when they can't be outside. And so we are doing year-round homeschooling. I've talked it over with my kids, and they are excited about it. I think they're really happy that they will actually have something structured to do in the school year. And I was quite surprised that they were as eager to do it as they were, because I was sort of anticipating oh, don't take away our summer break. But they didn't respond that way. They actually responded very positively. And I think it's because they know that, they can be outside in the spring. They get days off in the spring when they can actually be outside and enjoy that time outside. And, doing school in the summer, we don't have to do a whole school day. If their kids are outside, there's so much freedom with homeschooling. We can say, hey, go outside with your friends in the morning, and then, from about noon on, do school, and then be outside again in the evening when their friends are outside again. And so, we can have that freedom, that flexibility in the summer, knowing that most likely most subjects will have already completed by that time. So it's going to be more probably just doing, some brush ups on math and language arts and reading, and of course their music lessons. And so it won't be quite as structured as it is right now. So that is sort of an update on our school, on the way homeschooling is going for us right now. There's just so much more freedom. I'm feeling myself loosening up a lot. When the interruptions come and we're not able to do a school day like we would typically do it, I am okay with it. I'm really loosening up on that feeling like we have to get everything done by the end of the school year. Because really, there's not an end of the school year now. Taking that away just relaxed me completely. Also, sort of looking at alternative ways to do schooling, putting in more games, putting in more art, putting in more media, encouraging that mindset of learning is a lifetime thing. It's not something that happens during your school years, that it is something for a lifetime, and building that love of education in them. And I'm just so happy to see that blossoming in them. So I hope that this gave you some encouragement. I hope it maybe gave you some ideas, maybe something to kind of mull around in your mind a little bit, maybe some changes that you need to make, encouraging you that change is good. It happens. I don't think that anyone can sit down and say this is what our homeschool is going to look like, and that's what it looks like for the next 12 years. I hope that this just, put some inspiration into your day. So if you like this video, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Give that thumbs up, because that does let YouTube know that you like this content, you would like more content like this. Also, be sure to follow my channel. There is something here for everyone. I do upload several times a week, so be sure to click that bell for notifications so you get notified every time a new video goes up. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.